Pause this video right now. Go and read You Like It Darker by
Stephen King. And when you read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can just watch this video because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Aisha Library.
But we know you guys have all read this already because it's the great...
I mean, it's different every
It's
video,
the great Stephen King, you know. The amount of reviews I've seen, people's rinsed. The book come out Tuesday. People's rinsed it.
Stephen King.
Yeah, people's rinsed it. I mean, we're banning up people for rinsing the book, but we finished it as well.
Yeah, that's actually true as well.
So, what did you think of it?
I thought it was very good. I didn't really know the premise of I had to read the premise of the story. And when I saw the premise of the story, I said, this has the potential to be very interesting, you know? Because we can have, like, sections of the video where we just address each. Some of them were very good.
What was your personal favourite?
We'll get to my personal favourite. It's gonna be in here anyways. Let me read the blurb. Look, everyone knows the stories are in here. Mine was Danny Coughlin's dream. That was my favourite. My personal favourite was Danny Coughlin's dream. I thought that was really, really good. It got me engaged. It got me angry. It got me, you know.
There was a lot of talking points. There was a few talking points. And yeah, but I
think that was the best story.
I think The Answer Man edged it.
The Answer Man was it was innovative. It was really good. It was
innovative, yeah, definitely.
And it was different. I've never seen anything like The Answer Man as well.
Emotion.
So many questions about
The thing with The Answer Man is, we're going to get into it a bit more, but the thing with The Answer Man, it took us, the story took us, it was like this, whereas the Danny Bonet one...
Yeah, the Danny one took us like this, and then it kind of, at the end, you got your little happy ending or whatever, you got your little ending that you expected.
It was 2D.
The Answer Man went like this. That's what it did.
Well,
that's what it did at the end. The Answer Man.
You didn't like the ending?
No. I'm saying it went like in a total different direction than you thought it was going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that it was bad. It's just the fact that chaos just ensued at the end.
100%. All right, let's get into this. It's going to be interesting to see how we handle this review because we've never reviewed a short story book before, so it's going to be interesting how we handle the format of this. I'm not really a fan of short stories. I don't know. I've read them before, but I've never really read them. If I'm going to read a book, I want to read a book. I know I want to read 6. So yeah, but this, it's been good. But yeah, story number 1, The Two Bastards.
I assumed it was supposed to be said like that.
Yeah, The Two Bastards. But they weren't British. Then again, I don't know actually.
I don't know
because I listened to it and I'm pretty sure the guy was American. But the idea of this story is about 2 guys who go off into the woods. This is sounding like something saucy, but yeah, 2 guys go off into the woods and to hang out, and something happens that changes the trajectory of their lives. When they come out, they basically immediately become super successful in their chosen fields, and nobody knows why or how it happened overnight. Because the 2 guys will not speak to anybody about it. So all of this is backstory, and where we pick up the story is from the point of view of one of the successful guy's sons, right? So to cut a long story short, one of the famous guys have an accident for which he needs surgery. His son is with him at a hospital, and before he goes into the operating room, we get the stereotypical, pulls the key off the chain, off the key ring.
Literally.
If I don't make it, son, there's a drawer in my study. You get all the answers you want. But it's funny how Stephen King actually got us to like the dad beforehand and then masterfully, immediately made us want him to die despite our fondness.
Literally.
It's funny how we want to satisfy our curiosity more than we want characters to live. But it was quite skillful the way he did that. But what did you think of that story anyway? Because I personally didn't really like that one.
I wasn't a big fan of that one either, mainly because, look, it started off kind of interesting. I was like, cool, it started interesting. I'm there, interesting, draw, super successful guys, we were on what the mystery is, right?
Yeah.
Obviously I did like the ending, but I just felt like it never got out of first gear. Story didn't really get out of first gear.
That's a good way of putting it. And to me, okay, so one thing that this book is riddled with that I just didn't know was acceptable, just supernatural stuff. It's just out of nowhere. The supernatural aliens, it's just right the way through the book.
Yeah, it was right away.
And I think it's a bit of a cop-out, but it's still creative. But I didn't like the whole alien scenes, then they came down and then one was injured and
that just seems like there's too many. It seems like a piece of a much larger plot that hasn't been written yet, or that was just no. But you see, how like the answer man was like, it seemed like it was crafted for you to ask the kinds of questions. How do you know what answers? I don't really want to talk about it too much because we'll get to it, but. It seems like it was written as it was, whereas the two bastards or whatever, it will seem like you said, aliens came down. There's so many more questions. Whereas
we never saw them again.
Like we didn't see them before, didn't see them again. Like it just seemed like it was a piece of a much larger plot, and we just was denied a lot of. Yeah, it just seemed very disjointed, discombobulated. It was a very discombobulated read, and it just left me feeling confused. And when I feel confused, I feel like you're calling me stupid. You're not calling me stupid, are you, Stephen? What is it?
I want a refund.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the most you can do to him.
100%. The first story is called what's it called? What was it called?
The Two Bastards.
The Two Bastards. Why have I got? It's got Two Talented Bastards. I don't know why it's got that there. It centers around a main character called Mark. It might be, called Mark Carmody, who lives in a town called Castle Rock. Our main character's father is a famous author whose best friend, Dave Lavediere, or Uncle Butch, that was his nickname, has recently died, and a news journalist called Ruth Crawford is desperate for an interview. Despite our main character turning her down on numerous occasions for the interview, Ruth is persistent and finally corners him in a coffee shop to grill him off the record.
And this is how we started to like him because, they gave us the backstory. He mercifully gave this reporter an interview and he only allowed her to have a couple questions.
Literally.
Or whatnot.
She said, I've got enough to write a 10,000 word piece and sell it, she claims. I've got fishing stories, hunting stories, good deeds done, like getting in the hay for the man who had the heart attack. I've got the story of you joyriding and losing your license. I've got all of that and I've got nothing. Which is to say, nothing of real substance. People love to tell stories about them. She said, I knew Laird Carmody is the dad, by the way. I knew him when I knew Laird Carmody when. I knew Butchie when, but none of them explained what they became. You must know something about this, Mark. She's talking to the son. There's nothing to tell, Mark says at once. Inwardly, he thinks, I was lying, and I think she knew it. Suspense. Mark is hiding something. On his deathbed, Mark's father gives him a tiny silver key. Use it to open the bottom drawer of my desk, he says, but only if I die. So, which is interesting because you even said we want him to die now because we need to. This is the whole point of the book. We need to know. So let's say this happened to you. Somebody gives you a key. Only open if I die. I was about to say. See, this is why I like you.
I ain't waiting till you're dead. 100%
open that up immediately.
You're gonna die
so what if you open it up right there and it says, Elijah, I can't believe you fucking opened this when I didn't die yet, or like it's some kind of. Do you just put it back?
I wouldn't lose any sleep at night. Put it that way. I wouldn't lose any sleep. But
I think it was a good start to the book. It only really made me more disappointed with the end of the story. But
I think
this is the advantage.
This is the thing. The ending was just like, well, what was the point of that?
Exactly.
It just ended randomly. But
exactly. This is the point of this is the advantage of short stories because like if something's not working, you can just on to the next one. Do you know what I mean? Just forget about it.
Yeah. The fifth step. This is where I started to say
respect your team.
The fifth step was very, very good. This story starts with a man being annoyed by somebody coming to sit on his bench. All the other benches were empty. Is it justified to get annoyed by this? Because that's what he said. All the other benches are empty. Why do you have to come sit? Is it justified to get annoyed by that?
I think it depends. A lot of things that people think bother them, or a lot of things that people think of right and wrong, is based on the location. So if you're from New York, if you're from London, you're from Paris, and you've been anywhere near rush hour traffic in the last 2 weeks, you don't want anyone near you ever. If you're from like Louisiana, you're from Nebraska, you haven't seen the person in 2 weeks, then you're gonna feel differently. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if I agree with that because I feel like it's a universal thing. So if you're on an empty bus or empty train, someone gets on, it's universal. You do not go anywhere near. You don't even go same row. You don't go. You go as far as possible. That's a universal thing.
I don't know if that's actually universal. I know it is definitely the case where I'm from.
It's definitely.
It's definitely
Western. It's westernized.
Listen, it's definitely westernized. I can agree with that. I don't know if it's universal. I can definitely tell it is where I'm from. I can definitely tell if you go to the bathroom as a man, you do not use the urinal next to the other guy. You go at least 1 urinal over. At least if you can go 2, go 2. If you go 3, go 3. Definitely don't go right next to me. You right, mate? Definitely don't do that.
You are so right.
It's unwritten etiquette. You definitely don't do it.
Yeah.
So I know where I'm from. That's how it is.
I don't know. But this is the thing. where do we get this idea from? Because I feel like we get this idea from TV that you're not supposed to do that.
Maybe,
because
I mean, where else could we get it from?
For you to get angry about someone sitting next to you on a bench, it's like...
Listen, he said he was like, what did he say? He was 78 or 68? When you're that age, you're angry about most things, to be fair.
Yeah, that is true. You're grumpy. You got pains and aches. But anyway,
grumpy.
And I've also decided to invent a phrase called toxic pridefulness. In the 5th step, the guy said, I don't need your money and I don't want it. And,
toxic pride.
Yeah,
just toxic pride.
He could have given that money... Yeah, he could have given that money to charity. So, because basically, obviously, the guy came and sat down. So, the guy's annoyed by someone else coming to sit down on his bench, and the guy tries to start talking to him. I think he's reading a newspaper or something. The guy
he's reading the
takes
New York
out some
Times.
money, and he says, listen, I really need to talk to you. Here's $20. Can I just confess some things to you? And the guy said, I don't need your money. I don't want your money. And then basically, the guy explains that he's recently recovered from alcohol. And the guy who's been helping him said he has to pray every day. He said the guy said, I don't care if you believe in God or not. What you're going to do is you're going to pray every day, thank the Lord for helping you to get through the addiction. And the funniest thing is, it worked, So did God really help him? That's another philosophical.
That is definitely another philosophical point.
But I liked the story. Did the guy end up hurting him or something, killing him or something?
He chefed him up.
Yeah. But Stephen King gives us a powerful tool to help with depression. Somebody who is really suffering can use this to help them feel better. He said, on a piece of paper, write down all the shitty things in your life, and on the back, write down all the good things. The character in the story who tried it said it was a 10-minute job to write the bad stuff, whereas it took him an hour to write the good stuff. He struggled at first, and then he started with, at least I've got a good sense of humour, and then that opened the floodgates of a million things he's grateful for. Because when you're depressed, you look at life in a way that's everything's shit, it clouds your judgment. So if you write down, whatever's shit in your life, got no money, sad, no girlfriend, or whatever.
Bitches,
There's only so many you can do with those. And when you say, oh, my body's healthy,
got legs,
I've got 2 hands,
got eyes,
I've got a mother, I've got a father, that fills up the page, and then you can look at life as in reality, and it's going to help you with your depression. So that's a very, very powerful tool.
Yeah, you can look at life statistically. You will realize you've got. Like, remember what I said. Like, remember when
there's
you was
quote
like
in the book.
There is a quote in the book. But remember when you was like, you was like, all the water's all the way downstairs in the kitchen. I literally said it's first world problems.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what that quote means. First world problems. Like, we genuinely do not have it as bad as even in. I think I know what you're talking about in The Answer Man when he literally said somebody always has it worse.
I saw something online. It's normally you saying stuff like this. I saw something online, and somebody said something on the lines of 99% of the population live better than all the richest, famous kings, rulers in all of human history. I mean, past, let's just say, going back more than 200 years, all the famous rulers, no one experienced hot shower.
No, yeah.
No one. No matter how rich you are.
Water on demand. On demand.
That's just something we experience every single day. Literally. And we're still complaining.
Their man in Rome, their toilet was a brush. They used to pass it around. Literally, you wipe and they pass the brush. Yeah. In ancient Rome, they would have in the public toilet, they would have a brush, like a toilet brush, and they'd wipe with it and they'd pass it to the next person, a stick. And that was their toilet paper. They didn't have to. Where are they getting Andrex from? When are they getting soft velvet from?
They thought they were clean as well, dude.
They were clean comparatively to everybody else. They were clean.
That is hilarious. That's
not ridiculous.
hilarious.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And we can look down on them now because technology. We've got it.
And then you got the Muslims that look down on Western people for using toilet tissue.
100%. They have like the whole spray.
Bidets.
It's like bidets. That's what it's called. Yeah.
It does change your life. And it feels good. Real.
So the second story is called The 5th Step, a tale of an old engineer called Harold Jameson from New York. At 68, Harold liked to think he had a bit of road left, but was aware that he was coming up on the finish line. His favourite moments of the day were spent reading a copy of the Times newspaper in Central Park. One day, he is approached by a stranger who offers him a $20 bill to do a favour for him. Harold is instantly suspicious, but the stranger claims the favour could save his life. Not Harold's life, the stranger. I'm saying the favour could save my life, so just do it for me. The stranger, Jack, is a recovering alcoholic. His therapist advises him that along the road to recovery is the 5th step, confessing wrongs to God, to oneself, and to another human being. To that end, Jack must go up to a total stranger and confess his sins, to the point of paying the stranger for their time if he must. So Jack goes on a winding story of sin about how he picked fights in school, how he cheated his way through university, supplying his teachers with coke, all kinds of crazy stuff that he did. He talks about how he moved home, met a girl, tried to settle down, all while being a crippling alcoholic. Now, however, he's in Alcoholics Anonymous, he wants to stop drinking and he wants to be better. Jameson said, "That's great, pal. That's good. Glad to hear it."
And you know the guy, the main character, I don't know who.
Yeah, Jameson. Yeah.
Jameson's not the alcoholic.
Yeah, no, Jameson's not the alcoholic. Jack is the stranger.
Yeah. So Jameson was surprisingly abrupt with him, because I wouldn't have been able to be so rude, because he was like,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
because I would have had to.
Get to the point, pal. Get to the point, pal.
Yeah. So when someone starts opening up to you, you kind of just have to just take it. But he was like, "Nah, get to the point." Is this? He was like, "Is this gonna take?" He said,
"Bro,
"You got 2
he's
minutes."
70. He's 70.
Yeah, you got time left.
He said, "I ain't listened to your life. I got my whole life story. Listen." He said, "I'm not listening to this." Jack has one more confession. He said, "I left my wife, but not before I cut that bitch's throat." This is what I said.
I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're like this.
I said, "Wait, what?"
He said, "Not before I cut that bitch's throat. I can't do a complete 5th step without admitting that I really seem to enjoy killing people."
Grabs him
up. With that, Jack draws out an ice pick and stabs Jameson in the torso. "You'll be in my prayers tonight," he whispers. You don't know what ice pick is? It's like literally like a piece of metal, like a sharp piece of metal they use for breaking up blocks of ice to use in drinks. And it is like a common murder weapon in murder mysteries.
He should have not. I mean, the guy Jameson did kind of think he was crazy when
he did kind of think he was crazy. But I thought in his final moments, as he's like bleeding all over his Times newspaper in Central Park, he was thinking, "I should have took that $20. At least I would have got paid for this."
Oh, of course. Okay, this is the best story so far. Man dreams of a location of a dead body. He then tracks down a location, and the body's there. He calls it in anonymously, and the police release his voice of his call, the voice of his call on national TV.
This guy bought a burner phone. He bought a burner phone specifically to stop that happening. You know, he might as well use his own fucking phone. He might as well went to the police station.
Yeah. He tried to do it. Though. He's like, "I don't want none of this. They're gonna believe if Bond. I find a body here, they're gonna think that it was me." My man thought it was James Bond.
He literally thought it was Jason Bourne. He literally said, "You buy a burner phone."
The police released his voice. Like, I've got one of those. People's told me so many times. I've got one of those voices that is so distinctive. They're gonna know it's me. Don't matter what. Everyone would know it's me. So if that happened to you, what are you doing?
I'm chilling at home, waiting for the police to come and get it. What would you want to do? Go on a run?
I'd just hand myself in. I'd admit everything, including the murder.
Just cut to the chase.
It was me. You're not gonna believe me.
The sentence down. Plead, I'd be like, it was an accident.
No, but for real, are you gonna hope to get away with it, or would you?
I'm not gonna lie. Let's say for example, you ran somebody over with your car and then you fled the scene of the crime. Felony hit and run is not gonna get you as much as premeditated murder, buried somebody, tried to get away with. Do you see what I'm saying? So. You say you're joking when you say you would hand yourself in, but if you did, you probably would get the sentence would probably be noticeably different if you handed yourself in.
No, but handing. Okay, what are we talking about? This or you talking about your story?
No, I'm just saying, like in this situation,
you're handing yourself in. You're handing yourself in to basically say I made the call, not handing yourself in saying I committed the murder.
Yeah, no, 100%. So but they're gonna be like, how did you know where the body was?
Of course it is. Yeah, well, that's the premise of the story.
That's the premise of the story.
And you're at the mercy of the law. But I mean, in actual fact, I think this story could have been done a little bit better in certain ways, and he shouldn't. I think Stephen King shouldn't have had him call it in. I think Stephen King should have had him not call it in, and that somehow.
They found
out that he went there, and why didn't you call him? Because I don't know if I'd have called that in. He went out of his way. I wouldn't have called that in.
I think if I did call it in,
I wouldn't even track it down. If I did dream, I wouldn't even track it in. I wouldn't track down the location.
Oh yeah, no, I'd have been going to work. I've got a job to go to, all kinds of things. But if I did, I think if I did call it in, it would have been out of naivety because he should have known. Like, come on,
it's not worth the hassle.
You're not getting paid for this.
What did he think he's gonna get a slap on the back? Well done,
come
pal.
on, bro.
A man as well.
This is a real world. Yeah, this is a real world. Like, you have to understand. Like,
They remember
You
these
just put yourself
police.
as
The
suspect
police
number one.
need. Well, the police they want a conviction because
They want
they
a
need to
collar.
cross. They want to cross that off. They
Exactly. In fact, it's funny you should say that. I was talking to somebody at work about this, and they was like, police officers have a arrest quota they have to make, right?
Yeah.
And this guy at work, I know, he was like, well, that doesn't make any sense, and I was like, of course it makes sense because the police chief is like, there's crime out there, find it. If you haven't found it, you're not looking hard enough.
It's not just that. It gets even deeper than that. So the police get a budget from the government.
Yeah.
And they've got to show what they're using that money for. If they don't, there's certain things, if they don't spend that money, then the government say, well, you don't need so much for next year, so we take a couple mil off.
So
But if they've got to do certain amount of things so they can show what they do with the money, so they say we stopped 100,000 cars this month.
Yeah.
We put away 100,000 people. And then they look at all the cases that never got closed. So if they've got 1,000 murders that aren't solved, that don't look good.
Yeah.
So they need to, at least even if they arrest the wrong guy, and they convict the wrong guy, that's one less. That's one less. So this is the problem when you look at the statistics and not actually look at justice.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Listen, I heard a great quote one time. This guy said, "Statistics are like bikinis. What they show you are important. What they don't show you are equally as important.
Even more.
That's even more
That's where
important.
the goods are."
I said that is a great quote. It's very, very, very true.
It's a great quote. I don't know where you pulled that one out from.
Underneath
your G-string.
My wife.
I haven't finished because I'm done.
Oh yeah. Go on.
At this point, not gonna lie, at this point, I do think Danny has done it and then somehow forgot, and his subconscious is remembering, and that's why it's coming out in dreams. I only thought this at the time because I didn't know this supernatural thing was a thing.
Yeah, I knew it was on the cards, but I thought what you thought was gonna happen anyways. But I knew it was on the cards.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I definitely thought that's the way it was gonna turn out, but I'm glad it didn't. Because it's basically it's not original. If he done it, it's not really original.
The guy we originally thought did it.
Yeah.
That's what the story would have been.
Have you got anything about this story?
Yeah, I've got loads.
Okay.
I put, Danny Coughlin had a bad dream. At a deserted Hilltop Texaco gas station, he sees a mangy mongrel dog digging at the ground. As the dog digs, it uncovers part of a human arm wearing a charm bracelet. With that, Danny awakes with a scream, thankful that he lives alone so there's nobody around to hear it. Danny is a janitor at a nearby high school, and while at work, janitor, the most honest job, like a janitor at school, doesn't do anything to anybody. While at work, he decides to Google the Hilltop Texaco that he saw in his dream. To his horror, the pictures he finds online perfectly resemble the scenes of his dream. Danny makes the trip up to Nebraska, hardly allowing himself to entertain the idea that he's a psychic. And when he reaches the gas station and finds the dog, it's not long before he sees the hand of the body protruding from the earth. He buys a burner phone from a Dollar General and calls the emergency services and tips them off. Not long after, Danny is visited by agents from the Kansas Bureau of Investigation who want to ask him some questions. Danny's mistake was being honest about his dream. I've never been questioned by federal officers in a murder investigation, but I'm guessing they are not receptive to the idea of the paranormal. As an excuse, bearing in mind. Inspectors Jalbert and Davis's reaction to Danny explaining how he had a dream, divining the location of Yvonne Wicker's body, went down exactly as I might have expected. They were like right, lead balloon. They said, right. And did Santa Claus put the gun in your pocket?
Man said, we got crazy.
Literally. They said, so Bigfoot put the knife in your pocket, isn't it?
Coughlin.
Literally. Despite their oafish conviction that Danny is guilty, his cooperation with their investigation frustrates them. He is happy to provide DNA evidence, happy to take a polygraph, happy to account for his whereabouts. The KBI, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, have no murder weapon, no time of death, no witnesses. They top to bottom his pickup truck, find no fingerprints, no blood, no DNA of the victim, not even any evidence of bleach or sterilizing agents. Yeah. They check his phone and find nothing. They raid his house and find nothing.
Yeah.
For me, he should be off. Yeah. Long time ago, he should be off. You've got zero evidence, zero. You're telling me they checked his truck and they said, cool, we haven't found any blood, but if the whole thing had been sterilised, that's evidence. Do you know what I mean? Because like what janitor sterilised his truck like that? They said they found dirt from X amount of weeks ago. They found zero evidence. The burden of proof is on prosecution.
They were trying to say that he's a trophy killer sort of thing.
Yeah, there was
he wants to be caught.
He's taunting the police and things like he's playing the game and or maybe like arsonists sometimes they set fire and then put the fire out and like try and hero. Bro, listen, they found nothing. He can account for everywhere he's been. He said every day I punch in at 7:30, I punch out at 5. My employees will tell you. They had nothing. He should have been off a long time. Yeah,
the police were gunning for him.
They were gunning for him. This is kind of where Stephen King blundered for me because he made it too. The case was too. It was open and shut. He didn't do it. You know he didn't do it. People have got off for less than this when there was more compelling evidence. It was ridiculous. I got some more, but if you got some more,
the inspector is one loony character. Loony, bro. You should listen to the audio book.
Oh,
he seemed loony the way. 7.
Yeah, no, he was.
No, he was counting. Yeah, he's one of the best characters I've ever read.
That's
definitely.
Crazy.
The dialogue of him getting progressively worse with his fixation of counting is nothing short of creative. I don't know if genius is too strong of a word, but it really does the trick to make his character more 3-dimensional. Maybe it's something you can implement in your book, not the counting thing, but something about the characters, and I'll get into it a little bit after, but the counting thing, it was just random.
It was so random.
It was this random
but it played
thing.
So well for me.
It was so good.
That
so
character,
good. I can't remember his name.
Jalbert.
But he was such a good character. He was crazy. I mean, he was genuinely crazy. Even at the ending. Even the ending actually.
Oh god, yeah, nah.
And that reminds me. That reminds me so much. I think I was so into the story, I didn't write down as much notes as I should have.
Yeah, there was times I was reading it when you was on your way here, even when you was like, half an hour, whatever. I was reading it, I was like, oh my god, I haven't written notes in like 20 minutes.
Yeah. So I mean, even like I'm jumping ahead before I forget, but even Danny gets shot. That was out the blue. That was out the blue.
That was so realistic because that is what people do when propaganda makes people do those kinds of things. Because it's like the power of the police and the power of the investigation, and Jalbert turned up the heat in this investigation to the point where his neighbours were like, clear off, like get out of town, and also, murderer.
How, the dynamic between the officer who was his partner, who wanted to back him up, but also wanted to do what's right.
And she was also like, you're a little bit. She was like, you're a little bit.
She wanted to do the investigating. How she found out that it was him, because he used the audio.
Yeah, he used the audio, and then he's like, 50.
Yeah.
50. Like, she was like, what?
Nothing.
Bro, he's not alright. He's not alright.
He was such a good character.
What I rate about her is the fact that she was like, she's very logical. And I said, I've never met a woman this logical before. She was so logical because it was like, she was thinking, this doesn't smell right, this doesn't smell right. And then he was like,
but the logic doesn't help her at the same time.
But she said, do you believe that he had a dream? She was like, no, definitely not. He's lying. And I said, she's wrong, but she's logical. 100%.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You cannot fault her for that.
That's exactly what I was going to
say.
So
she definitely relied on logic to the end. And I definitely respect her for that.
She was convinced.
She literally said he's lying. 100%. Because like police cannot throw out X amount of hundreds of years of precedent because some guy said he had a dream. They can't do that. They realistically cannot do it.
And do you know what? It feels like people think the crime's more disgusting because a man killed and raped a woman.
Yeah,
when it was another man that was killed and raped.
That case
like the police were angry. They wanted to get.
Yeah, he was like, poor Miss Yvonne, the girl.
Yeah,
and even Danny was like, you said woman a minute ago. You said girl. What's going on?
Exactly.
He said, you moving like a prosecutor. Like you're trying to make a case in court. Like it was ridiculous, but it was very, very good. What part did I say?
Is it my go?
No, you just went.
It's my go.
I want to go. It's my go. I want to go.
I still got more to say about this one though.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. So they raid his house, they check his phone, they find nothing. They top to bottom his pickup truck, find nothing. Still, Inspector Jalbert, who seems unstable to say the least, is convinced of Danny's guilt. Inspector Ella Davis, however, seems at least pragmatically skeptical. She doesn't believe Danny's story about his dream, but she does harbour doubts of his guilt. Jalbert, meanwhile, turns up the heat. Increased pressure from the investigation leads to Danny being ostracised by his neighbours and friends and made redundant from his job. He literally lost his job. He lost his job. Do you know how peak that is? Like, his boss literally said to him, you can't work here no more. Because, like, he works at a school. She even said that, like, there's 15, 16-year-old girls here. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you're being investigated for...
murder,
and it's like...
rape and murder.
What am I going to say to the rape and murder? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it's like...
suspend someone.
Look, even suspension, I would have understood totally suspension, but they literally said clear off. whoever you hired,
I think
tell them to clear off.
You know
as
what?
well.
I think they probably should have suspended.
They should have suspended him.
Sorry. Stephen King should have done that just to make it make more sense. But in the moment, I didn't actually think.
They literally said clear off, and whoever you've hired, tell them to clear off as well. And I was like, that's an extreme measure.
Obviously we can't trust your judgment.
People don't play with their children.
But it was also interesting that in his community they didn't want him around as well.
Yeah, they was throwing bricks in his window.
I don't know if it's surprising.
It's definitely not surprising. People believe this way.
It felt realistic. It felt very, very realistic.
It definitely felt realistic. I said this guy, he wants the collar, he wants the arrest, he wants that bonus
scalp.
Literally, he wants it. He's convinced. He doesn't just think Danny killed Yvonne Wicker. He knows. He needs it to be true, despite the overwhelming lack of evidence. Meanwhile, Ella Davis is slowly coming over to recognise that her partner might just be a little over-invested in the case. She knows that he leaked Danny's name to the newspaper. She knows that he planted cocaine in Danny's car and bribed a traffic warden to pull him over and search his vehicle under false pretenses. So basically, he planted cocaine in Danny's car. So Danny, he got a phone call from one of his employees. He literally said, that guy that's been investigating you, he's hanging around work, like where your car is, yada yada.
I don't think he said that.
He didn't say that. He literally just said, I saw that guy, like, his car.
Around the back.
Yeah, parked around the back. I saw him around the back or whatever. Like, just to, let you... This is some 17-year-old kid, He doesn't really even know what's going on because he's not even in the loop like that. Daddy said, cool. Went to his car, checked, glove box, under the seat, cocaine. Straight away.
He's like, nah.
Straight away. He said, knew it. So he had like a McDonald's apple pie box that he had in the back of his car, put it in there, wrapped it up. Save that for later. But, and then he got pulled over by a traffic warden. The traffic warden was like, you're swerving all over the place. Daddy was like, cool. Is what it is. Came out, put his hands on the bonnet, yada, yada, yada. He saw the guy, didn't check anywhere else, didn't check glove box, didn't check anywhere, didn't check the boot. Straight away, under the seat. Straight away, he said, cool. You knew where you was looking. You knew where to look. You knew where to look. So he knows this guy has told people, look under the seat, he's got cocaine there. So, she knows Danny lost his job, so Inspector Davis, she knows Danny lost his job, she knows he's being harassed, bricks thrown at his car, shit was stuffed in his letterbox, human shit or dog shit or whatever it was stuffed in his letterbox, threatening messages. It's only when the brother of Yvonne Wick shoots and hospitalises Danny because of the rhetoric that she takes action. So,
and that was at the hand of the the crazy inspector because he leaked the name to the news.
Yeah, he leaked the name to the news, and the brother of the girl that was murdered, that was raped and murdered.
But you know what? He did it for a good reason because he was under the impression that Danny wanted to confess. And he done the murder just because he wanted to make the news and whatnot and blah blah blah. So he said that's what he said.
That is what he said, and that's what he truly believed. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like you're a police officer.
We're going to give him some attention, then he can confess.
No, you're a police officer. You can't be doing these things. No. Look, I don't have 20 years of experience as a police officer, so I don't really know. Like,
well, this is the thing, right? Should you break the law to convict a dangerous man?
You're Batman. You're Batman.
We love Batman.
If there was, that's true. But the thing is, if there was like evidence, then I'd be like, cool. There was zero evidence.
That's not what I asked.
Zero. When Batman apprehends these people, there's evidence against these men that it's just the police can't use. Batman doesn't care about evidence, jurisdiction. He doesn't care about anything. But what I'm saying is, there's evidence. Yeah, exactly. There's evidence. There was zero evidence about this guy, other than the fact that he called it in. That's all they had on him. He called it in. He made their job 1,000 times easier. That's all he did. They had zero evidence on him. But yeah, go on.
By the way, when they said short story, I didn't think it was going to be this. Some of these stories are a decent length.
Yeah, no, this is a novella. That was a novella. 100%.
Some of these stories are decent length. You can really get into the story and care about the characters and whatnot. I really like the direction that this story is going in. The planting of the drugs by the officer investigating. But would it not have been better for the plan to have worked and Danny to have been caught and arrested and put in jail? Then he could have been forced to navigate being in prison with the idea of him being a rapist and a murderer. That could have been interesting.
That would have made me furious.
Yeah, because he could have had life changing, and he could have really gone. He
did have life changing.
He did. But this is because the story. I don't think it needed to be as long as it was. I don't really have any regrets, but it was a point where. I didn't know where the story was going, and then we realised now that Danny got shot. That's where it went. But another avenue could have been gone to prison, and then we could have dealt with the other inmates who would have.
Oh, because you know how these. Well, I know the story.
You can't you commit any crime you want, but rape, child, whatever.
Definitely,
you're getting done in prison. 100%. You're getting done in.
Funnily enough, criminals have a very strong sense of right and wrong. Like,
you still got something more for this story?
Yeah.
I've got one more for this story.
Thankfully, some actual police work was in progress. They ended up catching the real killer who confessed to the crime. This, however, was not good enough for Inspector Jalbert. It wasn't good enough. He said, nah. He said, you think it was that easy?
He was like, what good news?
Yeah, he said, is he dead? That's literally what he said. He said, is he died? He died. And then it was like, no. And he said, well, maybe death would be too good for him. Maybe he's like disabled for the rest of it. He just started imagining all these kinds of crazy things.
We caught the actual guy, man.
Literally. But there was never a doubt in this guy's mind that Danny did it. Like, never. Like, even when Davis was like, do you have any doubt? He was like, what do you mean? He was like, what do you actually mean? Of course he did it. He said he raped her, he killed her, I can tell it, I can prove it. Like, he never for once doubted that he did it. But this was not good enough for Inspector Jalbert, who decided to tool up and go to the hospital to handle the matter himself.
He was going to execute him.
Execution, you know.
Assassinate him.
Oh my God, he was moving like Assassin's Creed.
And with a spot of luck, this Danny guy had another premonition.
Yeah, he had another premonition. There were two possible ways to perfectly end this story for me. For me, there was two perfect ways where you could perfectly end the story.
No, but
first...
Wait. Before you get into that.
I
thought the story was like this. When they found the killer, I thought it was like that.
For him
to add this on the...
Do you know what it was?
End,
I knew there was going to be something
gravy.
because I said, this is too soon. I said, this is too soon. You know when Venom toured up in Spider-Man 3, I said, this is something more is coming. It's too soon.
No, but Joseph, the character development they did on that, the inspector was off the scale.
Oh, off the scale.
My man, he was counting corners of the chair.
Yeah, 100%.
Flip out.
100%. He literally said, like, this guy's frustrating me. Like, he's fucking with me. I need to go count chairs. He would literally be like, I need to go home and count some chairs and straighten my mind.
Yeah, he was doing 19 puzzle pieces. Every 10 pieces, he'd stand up and walk.
Like, he would literally be like 19. She'd be like, what? It's perfect prime number. I said, you're lunching. You're different. He's moving different. Yeah, nah. I would immediately remove myself from his presence.
I think, you know what? I think we need the origin story.
We need an origin story, then we need a sequel for what happens. No, wait,
he was a fantastic character.
Crazy.
But at the same time,
delightfully
is it cheating?
What?
Seems to make a crazy guy.
Nah, not like how they
did. He did it differently. Because look, it's easy to make the Joker, but he wasn't the Joker. He was crazy Batman.
He was crazy Batman. Literally, he was a Punisher. So there were two perfect ways. So basically, what happened? He pulled up to the hospital. Danny had a premonition where he was like, "Oh, he's coming!" And in his premonition, he turned around and he saw the clock. Yeah, he's bedridden. He's in his hospital bed, holes in his belly, whatever, 4 holes or whatever. And in his premonition, he hears gunshots, yada yada. He knows Inspector Jalbert is coming for everybody. He's going to shoot whoever he needs to shoot because he's crazy. And then he turns over in his premonition. He sees the clock, so he knows when the shooting's going to start. He wakes up, screams, nurse, calling for the nurse. Nurses don't believe him. They're like, he's got morphine. He's on morphine or whatever. They just put him to bed. So he called. Who does he call? He calls Davis, the only person that's actually believed him that he had a premonition. And he says, your ex-partner's coming. And he's like, he's going to shoot up everybody. If you don't get here before 3 in the morning, he's going to shoot everybody. Why did she
believe him, though?
Because he was the one that put her on to Jalbert being basically overly crazy. Like, he said he leaked stuff to the press. She said, no, he didn't. That's absurd. Turns out he leaked stuff to the press. Yeah. He said he planted cocaine in my car. She said he would never do that. Turns out he planted cocaine. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So and she's like, maybe he might do something stupid. Let me
exactly. And it wasn't even the fact that she believed him about the dream. It was the fact that she believed him about her boss being crazy. But the fact that he was actually innocent means he did dream what he said he dreamt. So that's why she had to kind of believe him.
Yeah.
That's why she was like, okay, exactly. So because there's no other way he could have known. Like, he did do it. So
you're right.
She pulls up now, and then
at the same time as him.
And then she said it wasn't him because he was like, he's whoever the killer is, he's with him. That's what he said. Whoever the killer is, because they caught the killer. Killer confessed to everything, And they said whoever the killer is, he's with him. He's his boy. So let me go get his boy, and then that's 2 callers surprise for one.
Yeah, he's doing a good deed as far as he's concerned.
He said. So he pulls up to the hospital now, and then his ex-partner's there, Davis, and she's literally like, drop the gun, yada yada, you're unhinged. And then she said, he's innocent. And she was like, how do you think I got here? She said, he called me. He knows you're coming. He dreamt it. And he was like, couldn't be. And she was like, so why am I here? And that's when he even had to be like, And then he was literally just like, I don't care, right? He just said, I don't care. He just said, I don't care. But from that moment, I said there's two perfect ways they could end this story. The first way, classic Mexican standoff, Jalbert pulls up to hospital, kills Danny, and then and then Inspector Davis has to put him down. Right? And she clearly didn't want to because she said, like, we've had like meetings together, we've had this.
I mean, it's just not something you want to do anyway.
It's a partner.
Please.
The second way, and I thought this was a better way, Davis is forced to shoot Jalbert preemptively to stop him killing Danny. So she kills her partner, or shoots him, and he ends up dying to stop him killing an innocent civilian. And then during the story's epilogue, we find out Danny did it after all. And he was like a deranged serial killer playing a fucking game with them or whatever. And that would have been insane because Jalbert would have been like the guy that nobody believed after all.
So Danny would have been the guy who
exactly
nobody believed. And then
it would have been insane. And we found out he would have been like the dedicated police officer all along. It would have been insane.
Yeah,
it genuinely would have been insane.
You actually beat his story.
It would have been insane. It would have been insane. But it was
Stephen
just the
King,
ending. It's just the ending.
We need to have some words.
We need to speak. Get on the ice line. We need to speak. Let me.
You ain't been on camera though. You can sit over there.
Yeah, 100%. Keep quiet as well. But it was very, very, very good. I understand you have some more to say about it.
I'm enjoying this short story collection. It's much better than I thought it was going to be. Was it better than you thought it was going to be?
Of course.
You expected what his mind was.
Look, I know Stephen King is the guy. I know he's that guy.
But you've never read anything from him before, have you?
I've seen it, but I've never read it.
I've seen it.
I know it is a book series as well.
It isn't anything special in my opinion.
I think...
From what I remember.
Look, I'm not a big thriller / horror guy, but I did enjoy it. So that's why I kind of rate Stephen King, because I'm not a fan of the genre, but I did enjoy that. So I'll give him credit for that.
Anyway, one thing that I've appreciated is the creativity of the character development. Sometimes it doesn't have to be super complicated things, but these things really make the characters memorable. So, for example, you got Danny Banani, which is Danny's mentally challenged brother.
Or Stevie.
I don't remember his name, but I remember him. You know, he always had these, Danny Banani. You got the police officer who has that weird numbers, mental health
Arithmomania?
Yeah. We learned something which was super creative in my opinion. You've also got the Elvis Presley fan, the torturer of the thing, I'm not a writer, but I can imagine, maybe this is for you, I can imagine creating characters is like baking a cake.
It can be a little bit.
So, you add the ingredients to your cake team. So, your vanilla, your eggs, and in terms of characters, you add in football hooligan, anxiety-ridden, cheapskate. And just like with a cake, you don't know what it's going to taste like till you try it. With your characters, you have to try them too. It's almost like they write themselves. What would a misogynistic character say? He'd say, shut up and make me a sandwich, He's not going to say, let me do the dishes, dear. So it's interesting when you realise that these authors don't have as much control over these characters as you think. It's chemistry, essentially. They mix up the ingredients, but you don't have any control over the chemicals reacting.
Yeah, you know how the chemicals react, but you can't make the chemicals react.
Yeah. So as I said, if you have this type of character, this misogynist has to say misogynistic things. You can't just... If you start making them all nice now, it doesn't make sense. So it's almost like you put in the ingredients and lock them in.
Look, you're definitely right. You're definitely 100% right. But the thing about the thing about characters who are misogynistic, or the thing about characters who are like sexist, things like that, sometimes they are nice people. They have sexist tendencies. They have misogynistic tendencies. So they may say, "Let me do the dishes, dear." Maybe their misogynism presents itself as, you're a woman, you can't do anything. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to do everything for you. Like, oh, you want to cook? No, I'll do it. You go sit down. You know what I mean? So like sometimes it presents itself in different ways, but 100% the chemicals always react the same way.
Characters almost write their own dialogue.
They almost write their own dialogue, and sometimes as a writer, sometimes it sounds crazy, but it feels like sometimes the characters are speaking to you in terms of like what they're supposed to say or how they're supposed to act, or you have an idea of the person they are in your head. So it doesn't feel like you're making them up as you go along. It feels like you're finding a boat in a tree. Feels like.
I was thinking about that quote the other day.
I was thinking, because I saw the short of it, and I was like, that's got to be one of the most stupid, brilliant things that I've ever said in his life. Because I still don't know the answer.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was thinking about something else. I can't remember what it was, and then I was thinking, that's like the boat thing that I said. I'll probably remember it some other time. But
Yeah,
I've actually only got about 4 points left.
I've only got the answer man points left, which is about 5.
Which is good then, because, alright, let me go there and we'll get onto that. Because, look, most of the stories, I'm just going to say it, I didn't like, most of them are okay. We're talking about the best ones.
Yeah, the best ones.
And Rattlesnake, I didn't really like that. Did you get to
it was...
I didn't really like that so much, but there's 2 main ones. But this is the thing, if they were all banging, then none of them would be.
That's very true.
You have to have...
Even Stephen King, we can't have such lofty expectations on him to make every single one. The fact that we got 2 serious bangers, I was like, listen, I said, Stephen, respect your team. So, I'm happy with what we got.
I put, Stephen King is a genius, hyper creative. The ideas behind his short stories are so subtle but amazing. I'm referring to Red Screen. So this is the one which is the story of the alien invasion of the nagging women. And it's almost like a Doctor Who episode. You know, Doctor Who, he will use things that are in this world and try and make it. I can't give you an example.
Nesting consciousness, the shop dummies. Things like that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was, the way the story started and then tied into the main character who was interrogating the murderer who killed his wife, So he got home himself, after interrogating the man, because the man said, I killed my wife because she was nagging, because she was taken over by aliens. And he was there sitting at home thinking, did my woman always nag like this in the beginning, or was she slowly, progressively getting worse? She was just nagging about some dumb shit. He had a phone call from work and she was like, whatever. And then I immediately say, I take it all back, he's an idiot. He left me high and dry with that story. When I say that story finished like that, it just ended. It's finished and we got nowhere. And I'm taking this personally. Is he trying to make me anxious?
Literally.
Now I don't know how long or how short the story's going to be.
No, I know why his wife's nagging him. If he's behaving like this.
But yeah, man. Stephen King, he does show some mastery.
There's a fine line between genius and lunacy. There's a very fine line between those who are crazy and those who are super smart. Maybe he likes to dance with it. Maybe he likes to play jump rope with that line. He likes to skip rope with that line. So like, some days, Tuesday, Wednesday, he's crazy. Thursday, Friday, he's a genius. Maybe that's what it is.
I'm going to say my bit of just the Answer Man first. I've only really got 2 points, but we can talk about it. But your points, anytime you talk about the story, you go much more in depth in the premise. I'm writing it organically.
Just by what you're thinking.
But it's good to have, it's definitely good to have yours anyway, because yours is more important in depth. But yeah, the writing of Stephen King is just on another level. It's the quality of the dialogue. In the Answer Man story, the idea of the Answer Man, I put Answer Woman. Answer Man is just about this fortune teller, if you will, that charges $25. I don't know if the main character's name is Jerry or Phil. What was it?
It was Phil.
I think it was Phil. But the main character asked, or Phil should I say, he asked Answer Man, what is my mother's maiden name? To try and catch him out, because this fortune teller, knows things, and when the Answer Man answers correctly, without hesitation, Stephen King said, Phil felt like he'd been socked in the jaw. Shocked like a sucker punch. And I thought that was an extremely creative way to compare an emotion, to boxing or violence, should I say. That was, to me, it was just like,
struck.
And then he asked more questions and he felt like he'd been punched in the gut, in the
like
back.
Tyson in that round.
It was so creative to contrast a conversation, a shocking conversation, to actually a physical fight. I think that
100%.
It was poetry.
A physical onslaught, really, because there was no response. It's like, he's got nothing to really, you can't even counter punch, counter attack, nothing.
And also, do you know what was funny? The dialogue in that, the dialogue was very, very good. The way he would ask questions and then clamped his hand over his mouth.
That's what I'm saying. Do you know what it was? I think with the Danny Coughlin one, the story was better. With this one, the way it was written, the execution, the dialogue
story was good as well.
The story was very good. The dialogue was amazing, and it just made me think about. This is why I feel like
it was about human interaction.
It was
because
it made me think about how I'm going to start asking questions going forward.
Phil said he said it's surprising the way humans nonchalantly ask questions that we don't even realise we're asking, and even the answer man, he said poor people ask the more important questions. No, I think he said stupid people ask the more pertinent questions, whereas intelligent people ask more useless questions.
Yeah, they know stuff already.
And it's interesting to get inside the mind of humans, but. Man asks, you get 3 questions and he wasted 2 of them immediately.
66% of them already, you know. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, how long have you been here for? Already you've wasted like...
He said, how do I know if it's right? That's one question.
Do you know, bearing in mind, this guy gave him like 2 free questions before. He literally said, because I'm in a good... He said, it's a slow day today, I'll give you 2 free questions. You've already wasted 3, just letting you know. So do you want me to answer that? He said, do you want me to answer that? Now, his first question, what did he say? He was like, no, so what is all this? That's your first question. The guy said, you know you're paying for this. No, it was insane. So Phil Parker is a cum laude graduate from Harvard Law School. Cum laude is a Latin phrase that means with honours. So above that you have magna cum laude with great honour. Summa cum laude with high honour.
Just show it off now.
Of course.
We speak Latin, do ya?
Of course. His dilemma is deciding where he will practice going to law. Coming from a family of successful senior partners, Phil's father is appalled to hear that he is interested in being the only lawyer in the town of Curry in New Hampshire. Phil's father thought it asinine that a young man who had graduated from Harvard would even consider practicing in the wilds of New Hampshire, or the forgotten New Hampshire, or when he had had a few cocktails, the misbegotten wilds of New Hampshire. I just found that funny, to be fair, because like, as he's drinking more and more...
Did they use the word asinine in the book?
No, I don't like to...
No, I was going to say it's Bardomano.
Yeah, I don't like to like copy and paste and just lift, because like people have already read the book, you know what I mean?
You prefer plagiarism. Okay.
Of course, plagiarism is the answer. Phil comes upon a curious gentleman who calls himself the Answer Man. He offers 5 minutes for questions for $25 and first 2 answers for free. Bear in mind, $25 back then must have been bags, you know? It must have been serious money. Well, I don't know how much exactly it was, but it must have been
possibly a couple hundred. Maybe.
Possibly a couple hundred. Intrigued, Phil asks, what is this? The Answer Man smiled back. Such young fellows as yourself and girls are so used to asking questions that they don't even think about that they are asking. And since business has been slow this morning, I'm going to do you a favour of not answering that question, which still leaves you 2 free ones. It should be abundantly clear to Phil, as it is to me, that he is intellectually and linguistically outmatched here. Phil came to have a conversation, the Answer Man came to make money. We are not the same. Like, he straight away let you know, like, bro, you're not gonna... Straight away... From off rip, he said to him, I'm not going to answer that question as a favour to you.
The way he tried to play the man game with him and barter with the price.
And
man obviously knew
and
the
he
future.
said, goodbye. He said, then, safe travels.
Yeah, the guy was like, you really just going to let me walk out?
When someone knows, you kind of have to pay. You kind of have to.
Yeah,
There's no other...
You can't beat him in a man game.
You can't beat... He literally said this. Like, come on, man. Do I look like I need your money? Like, come on.
And it's funny because I thought Answer Man was a gimmick at first until he started answering all the questions about how his mother, how his family met and all of that.
Do you know what's funny though? When he said, because the Answer Man literally said, you're asking me all these questions. You didn't try, because he asked him, how do I know what you're saying is correct? And he said, because I'm the Answer Man. And he literally said, like, you could have asked me, what's your mother's maiden name? That would have proved it. You could have asked me all these things. And then he asked him, what is his mother's maiden name? That's when I thought it was a con, because he said he set him up to ask that question. So he could have like researched him or whatever. Like, I would have switched it up a little bit.
There's no internet back then, you know.
No internet back then. Like, to research somebody, you actually had to put in serious work, serious effort.
Money.
I mean, literally, serious work, serious effort, serious money. So it explains why it's $25, isn't it? Yeah, I got 2 more.
I've got 1 more already.
Alright, let me go again.
No, I'll go, because you got 2 more.
Fair enough.
Well, we can talk about it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Answer Man is probably the best story. The way the story keeps you on the edge of your seat, it kept going in different directions. The way Stephen King used foreshadowing to hint about the son dying, you know,
that was insane.
I thought it was fantastic. So I realised that the son was going to die when he was asking about his son. He was asking about his son about the sports. And when he kept asking, is he going to make it pro? No. He's going to play college? No.
Yeah.
Is he gonna play?
High school?
Oh, high school at least.
Does he watch it?
No. Yeah.
Like,
So at this point,
kinds of questions.
I thought to myself, shit, that son ain't making it. You know.
I didn't even clock.
That's when I clocked the son ain't making it.
I saw it. I didn't clock till I saw it, but that is devastating. And obviously, we saw all the things that came as a result of that. Like the mum went into depression, started smoking, had a miscarriage with her late child, and it was just it was crazy. And that's what I mean when I said because like it went from here, like he had a successful law practice, making money, you know, getting money for his clients. Did he make $500 for that guy? And I said, listen, he's on the up and up. And then,
wife got fat.
Literally, the worst of all. Everybody thinks they would know what to ask if they had the opportunity to ask somebody with unlimited knowledge. Nobody thinks they would waste questions, so to speak. For example, Elijah. Before we did this video, I asked Elijah what would he ask the answer man if he had the opportunity, and he said, the lottery numbers, the fuck? That was the exact words, the lottery numbers, the fuck?
Yeah.
Now, what if you, Elijah, asked this guy, what are the lottery numbers? What if he said, every number in lottery is a lottery number? That's one question down. Do you know what I mean?
Alright, well, this is the thing. There's a film called... I can't remember what it's called, but it's like... It's basically a film where a guy gets 3 wishes from the devil.
Oh, Bedazzled.
Yeah. And the devil's tricking you out. Basically, you know,
literally.
No matter what
Being
it is.
very literal.
No matter what it is, you ain't getting what you want. Sort of thing. I want to have
100%.
loads of women, then you can't get it up. You know, it's like, what's the point?
That's ridiculous though, because she would actually just give him things he didn't even ask for. Like if it's like 100%, that's exactly what happened in the thing as well. Like she made him gay just one time, just for bands. And I'm like, he didn't even ask for that. So that's just it was a ridiculous thing they did in the movie because like you're just the objective is not to win here ever. The objective is to lose. But so imagine if I said, he would say every number in the lottery is a lottery number. That's one question down. Now you have to ask, what are the winning lottery numbers? He would then say something like, there have been approximately 1 billion winning combinations of lottery numbers since the lottery began. Finally, on question number 3, you have to ask, what are the winning lottery numbers for this week? Then he says, 5, 11, 16, 91, 83, 44, 12. Read that back. You can't. You've got all of it already. You're 4 questions down and you know nothing about anything. Do you know what I mean? So it's like everybody thinks, I know exactly what to ask. I know exactly what to ask to fix my perfect life, yada yada. I just don't think we do, you know. I don't think we know what questions to ask. I don't think the point of life is to have the questions or to know the answers.
Well, if you don't, it's clear that we don't have the right questions or the right answers. That's why we're poor.
Speak for yourself.
But
definitely, I've got one more.
What did you think of I don't know if you got to the Dreamers with the scientist and his helper? Did you get to that one?
Nah, I didn't get to that. But I have a very interesting point about... so Phil asks the answer man all kinds of questions. He learns about the upcoming Second World War, and he learns that he is to be married to his girl Sally Ann. After the war, and after Phil has children and grandchildren, he finds the answer man again one day. He recognises him. Do I know you? Answer man asks, then chuckled. Don't answer that. You're not the answer man. I am. Just let me think. I've got it. You're Phil. You wanted to know if your girl would marry you, although you knew she would. And if you'd come to live in this village, although you knew that too. And it's like, the answer man is right. The questions we most want to ask are the ones we already know the answers to. We go on Google Earth so that we can look at our own house that we've seen 10,000 times before. Why do we do this? Why are we like this? Like, somebody asks you, what do you want to know, if anything? Is my girl want to marry me? You know she does. Yeah. That's what they do. They want to marry. Like, it was just so crazy to hear him say these things. It's like he must have experienced thousands of times before people asking questions.
You know what, actually, with short stories, I think this is true for short stories more than anything else. Short stories are something, like this collection is something that I can go back to and listen to the individual stories repeatedly, like when I want to. Whereas I think a whole book, to go and reread that again, you've got to dedicate some time to that. But just to get the short story... Like, the answer man, that was fantastic. I'm going to read that again at some point.
You know what's interesting about that? I forgot one thing. He even said something about how the world is full of deadlights or something like that. He said something to Phil. He was like, the world is full of deadlights. And the reason why it caught on to me is because, obviously, Stephen King is known for writing It. And Pennywise the clown, his race is called the Deadlights. That is literally what he is, like an alien. And it feels like a cool... to his work or whatever. I just thought it was interesting that Stephen King fans
wouldn't
definitely
surprise me. No, there was some story. Apparently, I read some review, and basically one of the stories is like a sequel to part of his book or this, that, and the other, or characters combined or aligned or whatever. But yeah, overall,
very, very good. It was well worth.
Your number one is
still Danny Coughlin.
Still
Danny Coughlin. That was so good.
You're just wrong, because The Answer Man is definitely the best. The Answer Man's definitely the best. It's technically the best. It's technically the most creative. It's technically original. It's better.
Which had a better ending? I'd probably say The Answer Man, to be fair, just because.
I wouldn't say.
I would say
Danny one had a better ending.
say like Danny Coughlin's ending, but I feel like there should have been more jeopardy, more price for us to pay as the reader. Someone we needed to die.
You could have your outcome. You would have made it.
Oh yeah, 10-10.
I don't know if I still would have said, because I would have said if you had your ending, I'd probably say it's better, because it's so much mental.
Yeah, it leaves us with jeopardy.
Yeah, but I like Danny's ending was technically better, because realistically, The Answer Man, all that happened was his son died.
Yeah,
that's it. And
his son died. Then I swear his wife killed herself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do you see what I'm saying? And he had a miscarriage as well. He was better, but it's out of the blue.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's easy to tie up a story by killing a couple of people. It's not. That's not original. That's not really creative.
Mostly off screen.
It works, and it was good.
Mostly
but Danny's one with the officer, maybe one might say it's unrealistic for the officer to go back.
It was slightly unrealistic.
Man pull up with a gun.
Yeah, he pulled up Pumpy.
But this is the thing. Someone who's crazy. He was losing his marbles, right? And what did they do? They fired him. And they sent him to sit in a room all day by himself.
Yeah, 100%. And he even said, is this 20 years of recommendations and great medals police work comes down? And he literally said, I've been doing this, cleaning up this community for 20 years, and this is how they treat me, because some guy had a dream. Do you think any of you lot would have called that? Do you think any of you lot would have done anything other than what I did? He said, do you know how many people told me they had a dream that they, or some crazy story about how they weren't involved in something that they clearly were involved in? So it was he was dealt with harshly. I know he did go off the rails.
He went massively off the rails.
He went massively off the rails. Started planting drugs. When he started planting drugs, leaking things to that's when I was
planting drugs is you're breaking the law as a serving police officer.
100%. You can't be doing them things. And she even said that to him. She literally said, you actually fucked this case up for us, not me. She said, we could have got him. Now we can't, because you broke procedure. So I said, that's where he definitely fucked up. But at the same time, none of his superiors can ever say we would have believed this guy that say he had a dream. He had a dream.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this book. It was well worth the read.
Well worth the read.
Technically, it was very good. The skills that he used to, character development, terminologies, I was impressed overall. I think any new Stephen King books gonna come out, we're just gonna, rinse them,
polish them off.
But yeah, I've got a little quote we can end with.
No, go for it.
I think I got it from the book.
Oh yeah, go on.
The trees don't hang with the grass, even though they started from the same place. Which you can take that how you want.
That's very good. That's very good. I like it.
It's kind of what it is. It's kind of snobbery.
It's snobbery, but at the same time, snobbery only. Listen, we play on the same pitch, but we don't play in the same league. Do you know what I mean? I think snobbery. It depends on which side you're on.
Yeah, no, of course.
The successful people never call the unsuccessful people snobs. Do you know what I mean? That's a common theme. Yeah. This in perpetuity.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it goes to show that we've come from the same place, and we're not in the same place not by luck. Guys like you always think guys like me get lucky. I heard that. That's a quote I heard as well.
There was another one as well, but I think I'll save it till next time. I don't know if I saved it or what. No.
I also heard.
I got
that person that we don't. That person that we do not endorse. We're not a fan of him. We don't endorse what he says or what he thinks or what he. Yeah. He also said that. You don't think it's a coincidence that the harder you work, the luckier you get? He said, do you not think there's a correlation there? I just think that's interesting, but you're gone.
But yeah, no, we'll leave you to it till next time. We're going to catch you again. We're not going to tell you to follow us on Spotify and Apple Music. We're not going to tell you to subscribe or like.
Like or subscribe.
We're not going to tell you to enjoy these podcasts.
We're not YouTubers. Do you know what I mean?
We are librarians.
Of course.
Till next time.